What do you even say? How do you feel? That was a poor effort. That was embarrassing. That was sad. That was ugly. What was that? I said a couple of weeks ago after the Niners lost their third divisional game in heartbreaking fashion this year with the lead with under 2 minutes to go, that was the end of the season. Because that really signaled to me this Niners team just doesn't have it. They don't have the will to win. They don't have the grit. They don't have the toughness. And I had said after that Seahawks debacle, this team is mentally, spiritually broken. You still expect San Francisco, the proud organization that they are, this core, how much success the Niners have had as an organization, making it to 4 NFC championship games and 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years, to at least show some effort, to at least show some care, and show some hustle. The last 2 weeks, we haven't seen that. The last 2 weeks, the Niners have looked like a shot fighter. The last 2 weeks, the Niners have been punched in the chin, and they've just folded. They've been KO'd. What we watched on Sunday Night Football was a piss-poor effort. It was sad. This Niners team just wants the season to end. This Niners team didn't want to play in the cold in Green Bay. They got annihilated by the Packers. 38-10 the final score last week. One of the worst blowout losses of Kyle Shanahan's tenure. And the following week, it looked as though the Niners wanted no part in playing in the snow in Buffalo. They lose this game 35-10. And even though the Niners are mathematically still in the playoff race, their season is over. And it ended after that Seattle loss. Because after that game, the Niners as a team realized the Super Bowl hangover is real. This Super Bowl hangover is something that we cannot shake. The Super Bowl back in February against Kansas City broke this team. And it broke this team spiritually, physically, because they're tired and worn down. And it broke them mentally. They don't play with fight. They don't play with toughness. They don't play with grit. They don't play with physicality. They don't play with belief. And that's why it's best for the Niners to just tank the rest of the year, miss the playoffs, get a good draft pick, and reset for 2025. As I've said, I don't think the Niners need to tear it down to the studs and rebuild. They need to retool, and they do need to make some changes. Because against 2 quality playoff teams in back-to-back weeks, Buffalo, Green Bay, they have been outmatched. They have been outcoached. They have been out-hustled. They have been out-dueled from a physical standpoint where they're playing like they want the season to end. And next week, the Niners will go back to Levi's Stadium at 5-7, 2 games back in the NFC West after the Seahawks came back against the New York Jets. And I think they're going to lose to the Chicago Bears. Despite their coaching snafus late in games the last 3 weeks, the Bears have been in those games. The Bears are playing some solid football, especially offensively with the strides that Caleb Williams has made. And the Bears are playing much better football than the San Francisco 49ers. And so this season is over. It's been over, but now it's officially done because the Niners are not in their last 5 games going to make up 2 games in the NFC West and overtake Seattle to win this division. They don't believe that they can do it. Physically, they can't do it. And they're not playing like they can do it. So do the Niners need to tank? I think they do. And that's what I would do if I was San Francisco. Wave the white flag. Call it a wrap for 2024. This is a team that's had to face a lot of adversity. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. The ball hasn't necessarily bounced their way. They did shoot themselves in the foot with those 3 losses to divisional teams, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, when leading with under 2 minutes to go. But with the way that everything is moving, with the way that the trajectory is gone, San Francisco's not going to turn this around this year. So what's the point in trying to make the playoffs? Fred Warner, you have a broken ankle. You've missed one game in your career. You're looking slow. You're looking beat up. You're looking lost. You're looking defeated. And it's pretty telling when the leader and the face of your football team feels that way and plays that way. I commend him for playing with the broken ankle. I'm sitting him the rest of the year because that's a player that I want to be with this team for the future because at least he's still trying late in the game. But he has a broken ankle. Sit him for the rest of the year. If Brock Purdy's shoulder isn't right, he doesn't need to play. Christian McCaffrey injured his knee tonight. It's unfortunate. I feel so bad for Christian McCaffrey. The dude loves ball. He lives and breathes football. It's fair to wonder if we're ever going to see the 2023 Christian McCaffrey again. And for the Niners to give him guaranteed money, to give him a contract extension, coming off a year in which he led the league in touches, in all-purpose yards, and was worn down at the end of last year, then he's dealing with bilateral Achilles tendonitis and misses the first 8 weeks of the season this year. Then he comes back. He has burst. He has speed. The Niners are playing Niner football. They're moving the rock. They're playing with energy. They're playing with swagger. Christian McCaffrey breaks off a long run. May have hurt his knee on that play, but then his next carry, he got the ball and just crumbled on the ground. I'm sitting him for the rest of the year. Deebo Samuel fumbled a kickoff return. Kyle Juszczyk fumbled at the 1. George Kittle dropping passes. If some of these players are banged up, or if you want looks at some of these young players, I'm sitting Deebo Samuel. Let's see what Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing can do. I'm sitting Fred Warner. Let's see if D. Winters can play. But the Niners can't do anything right. They can't block in the run, pass block. They can't catch the football. They turn the football over so much. They can't hit field goals. They can't tackle. They continue to have special teams breakdowns. They continue to have defensive breakdowns. They continue to have coaching lapses. This team is broken. And it's over for 2024. So tank the rest of the way. You're not making ground in the NFC West. Get a good draft pick, and that'll start the process of retooling this organization. I want to see Jordan Mason get more carries. I want to see Isaac Guerendo get some more carries. Kyle Shanahan finally with a creative play call on that Isaac Guerendo touchdown. Ricky Pearsall to the left of Brock Purdy. Fake the handoff to him. Throw it backwards to Guerendo. Has some juice. Picking up yards after the catch. Continue to play Renardo Green a lot. Charvarius Ward, I know he's dealt with a lot of personal stuff. I feel so bad for him. It didn't look as though he was mentally right to be out there. And you know what bad coaching does? And Nick Sorensen is just a terrible defensive coordinator. This team can't tackle. This team has breakdowns. This team can't execute. There were moments when guys were 10 yards open on 3rd down and 4th down. Bad coaching doesn't help to elevate and develop your young players. Jair Brown, last year, filled in for Talanoa Hufanga. This year, he has been terrible. Missing tackles, taking bad routes to the ball carrier, bad angles. What has happened to Jair Brown? A 3rd-round pick who last year looked to be promising. This year has been terrible. I think that he can still play. But bad coaching doesn't elevate your young players. And so as part of these changes, it's not going to happen now, but after the year, fire Nick Sorensen, fire Brian Schneider. Kyle Shanahan needs to bring in an offensive coordinator. He needs to bring in a former head coach to help him with game management. He needs to hire Robert Saleh and reinvigorate this organization. Because right now, this organization has no juice. Right now, this organization has no swagger, no confidence from top to bottom. Our post-game show, sponsored by Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game. Right now, get $50 when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed, and you can win up to 100 times your money with our friends at Prize Picks. You pick 2 or more players, you choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win some big-time money. Withdraw your winnings. And this is a good time to bring up that there is injury insurance. That's why Prize Picks is the best. If a player gets hurt in the first half, it doesn't count toward your lineup. Now, what's crazy is how good Christian McCaffrey looked in this game. We took the more than 63.5 rushing yards. He ran 7 times for 53 yards, 7.6 yards per carry. But because he got hurt in the first half, doesn't count toward the lineup. George Kittle, more than 3.5 catches. He had 1 catch in this game. What are we doing? James Cook, he went off. 11 carries, $108, and a touchdown. That's how you play Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Let's continue to move forward here with our postgame show. Christian McCaffrey has a PCL injury to his knee that is potentially season-ending. Sit him for the rest of the year. There's no point in playing Christian McCaffrey, and we had worried about this since he came back from bilateral Achilles tendonitis. And Kyle Shanahan didn't manage his workload at all. He had been using him like a number one back, and the number one back that he was in 2023. That's coaching mismanagement. And Kyle Shanahan saying after the game, real disappointed. We have a lot more pride than this. I definitely know we have people out, but we can play a lot better than this. Yeah, they could play a lot better. But this Niners team just isn't playing with any sense of urgency or confidence. It is a season from hell. It is a nightmarish season. And you could put a fork in the Niners. For the 4th time in franchise history, San Francisco has lost back-to-back games by 25-plus points. It also happened in 2015, 2006, and 2005. Those were bad years for this Niners organization. And so this disaster of a season is now turning into an ugly season. And it's probably now a lost season. There is no chance that this Niners team is going to turn it around. And as part of all of this, we have to have a conversation about Brock Purdy. I have defended Brock Purdy. I have stood by Brock Purdy. I've been a big fan of Brock Purdy. I think that Brock Purdy is in that Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff type of category. But tonight, Purdy, 11 of 18, 94 yards. Josh Allen threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and had a receiving touchdown. So we saw a clear difference tonight between Brock Purdy and Josh Allen. And we saw a difference in their raw ability. Josh Allen in this driving blizzard was able to drive the ball downfield, no issues in throwing it in this type of weather. Whereas Purdy can only loft passes with no velocity or gusto behind them. He can't really drive the football on a line drive. He can't throw passes beyond 20 yards in this weather. We've seen it now against Cleveland. We saw it against Green Bay. We see him struggle against good defenses. Purdy in the snowstorm tonight just checking it down, throwing loopy passes. And so this 49ers quarterback situation has gotten a lot murkier this year, given the way that Purdy has played with less than ideal circumstances. And for franchise quarterbacks, sometimes it doesn't matter. They overcome that. They are just special. Josh Allen is a max quarterback, 6'5", 240, bulldozing Devondre Campbell, throwing seeds in the snow, throwing a touchdown, rushing for a touchdown, having a receiving touchdown. That's what a max guy looks like. Brock Purdy, check down Charlie. Can't drive the ball downfield. So, once again, I'd consider having Purdy play on an expiring contract next year. You have to be sure that you have the right guy. When you were paying that player $50 to $60 million per year, there is no way for San Francisco to be sure that Brock Purdy is a franchise guy worth $50 to $60 million per year. He hasn't played like a Josh Allen. He doesn't look like a Josh Allen. Now, he does have some elite traits. He throws with timing, touch, accuracy, anticipation. He processes very well. But if he has to play in inclement weather, we saw it last year, decent sample size. This year, he can't elevate his teammates around him. He can't do the things physically that Josh Allen can do. And so this Niners quarterback situation going into 2025, a lot murkier than a lot of people, and myself included, anticipated going into 2024. I would consider having Brock Purdy come back on a 1-year expiring contract because I'm not sure that he's worth 50 to 60 million. And it would not shock me at all if San Francisco made a trade for Kirk Cousins. It's Kyle Shanahan's guy. He's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy slightly. Kyle Shanahan, I think, would have more trust that Kirk Cousins could elevate the team more than Purdy could. He's a little bit physically better than Brock Purdy. He has familiarity with the system. Kyle Shanahan knows what he can do. And Atlanta might be trying to move off that contract. They gave him 2 years, $100 million guaranteed. And so if Atlanta were willing to eat some of that cash flow for 2025 and move forward with Michael Penix, would not shock me at all if the Niners tried to trade for Kirk Cousins. Look out for that during this offseason. Because if you don't have a quarterback, you're doomed. And I'm not sure the Niners know if Brock Purdy is that cat. And what are the other options? You going to go after Sam Darnold? You want to bring in Zach Wilson? You want to go after Bryce Young and trade for him? He's starting to improve. Not a lot of answers, man. Kirk just threw 3+ picks. I get it. He throws some picks. But Kyle Shanahan might think he's a better option than Brock Purdy. And again, if the Falcons are willing to eat that salary, San Francisco might bite on that. Is it time for the Niners to tank? Y for yes, N for no. Join the conversation down in the comment section. That's our pinned comment for our post-game show. I'm interested to see where you're at.